friends, what's up and welcome to my channel. So friends, this is another requested session. So in this session I'm going to discuss the major periods in American literature. So this session is going to be quite important, so watch the video till the end. Let's start.
Friends, American literature or the periods of American literature are equally important like the periods of British English literature. Okay, so friends, at first we have the colonial period, and the time span is 1607 to 1776. Then we have the revolutionary period or the revolutionary age, and the time span is 1765 to 1719. After this we have early national period, and the time span is 1775 to 1828. Okay, this may vary. Okay, in some places you will also find 1828 or 1830. That is also correct. Okay,
friends, shortly these three periods also included in many books as one period, and the name of the period is the colonial and the early national period, and the time span is 1607 or the 17th century to 1828 or 1830. So friends, don't get confused. So after this we have the American Renaissance or the Romantic period, and the time span is 1828 or 1830 to 1865. So after this Romanticism or after the Romantic period we have the Realistic period, and the time span is 1865 to 1900. So after the Realistic period or the Realism we have the Naturalist period, and the time span is 1900 to 1914. Friends, in many books or in many websites you will find one period that is called Realism and Naturalism. So Realism means the realistic period and Naturalism means the naturalistic period. Okay, so don't get confused. After this we have another period which is the Modernist period, and the time span is 1914 to 1939. And at last but not the least we have the Contemporary period, and the time span is 1939 till the present date.
So now let us discuss a kind of brief history and the major writers of each period.
So at first we have the colonial period. So in the colonial period the majority of the writings were historical and they are religious in nature. Okay, and the notable and major writers of this period, of this colonial period, were Phillips Whitley, Cotton Mather, William Bradford and Bradstreet and John Winthrop. Okay, so now we have the revolutionary age.
Friends, just make it clear that in between the two periods, means in between the colonial period and the early national period, we have the revolutionary age. Actually the Revolutionary War was started in 1775 and it lasts till 1783. And in 1776, America got independence. Okay, or we can say that the 13 colonies that were under England, they claimed independence. Okay, that's why we say that United States of America got its independence in 4th July 1776.
So the major writers of this revolutionary age were Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine, James Madison and Alexander Hamilton. So this period is mainly enriched with the political writings. So now we have the early national period.
Okay, so friends, before America got independence in 1776, mainly the writers focused on political writing. But after America got independence, the writers also continued writing political issues. But in 1812 to 1815, there was a war between America and Britain. Then after this, after 1815, the American writers aimed to produce newness to their writing.
That's why in this period or from this period, the nature of writing began to change. So in this period, in 1789, the first American novel was written by William Hill, and the name of the novel is The Power of Sympathy. Apart from this, in this period in 1787, the first American comedy was written by Royal Taylor, and the name of the comedy is The Contrast. So friends, these are the most important things. You have to remember these things. And the major writers of this early national period were Washington Irving, James Fenimore Cooper, Charles Brooden Brown. They are the major fiction writers in this period, and we have a number of poets in this period, and they were Edgar Allan Poe, William Cullen Bryant, etc. Okay.
So now we have the American Renaissance or the Romantic period. So this period also known as the age of transcendentalism, which is one of the major movements in American literature. Friends, I'll discuss about it in my next session. So don't forget to subscribe, okay? So in this period, major writers were Walt Whitman, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Edgar Allan Poe also. Apart from this, we have Emerson, Thoreau, Herman Melville, Henry Wordsworth Longfellow, etc. Friends, one interesting thing in this period is that from this period, the American literary criticism began, okay, and this literary criticism led by Poe, means Edgar Allan Poe, James Russell Lowell, and William Gilmore Simms. So now we have the realistic period. So friends, the realistic period is one of the most important periods in American history. Actually, America has witnessed the Civil War, then Reconstruction, then the age of industrialization. So all these things made American literature more realistic, okay? So the romantic notion is changed or replaced by the realistic description of American life. And the notable realistic writers of American literature were Mark Twain, Henry James, and William Dean Howells. So apart from the realistic writings in this period, you will also find regional writing, okay, and the major regional writers were Sarah Orne Jewett, Kate Chopin, Brett. So after this we have the naturalist period, and the major writers of this period were Frank Norris, and Jack London, and Theodore Dreiser. Now we have the modern period. So in this period, we have the notable writers such as Robert Frost, Ezra Pound, William Carroll Williams, E. Cummings, T.S. Eliot, Walt Stevens, and Edna St. Vincent Millay. So they are mainly poets, okay. So apart from these poets, we have some novelists and prose writers. So they are Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner, Gertrude Stein, Willa Cather, John Dos Passos, etc. Okay. Friends, this period also witnessed a number of literary movements like the Jazz Age, Harlem Renaissance, and the Lost Generation. And the notable writers of the contemporary period were Amy Tan, Sylvia Plath, Arthur Miller, Toni Morrison, Ralph Ellison, James Baldwin, etc.